guys, welcome back to Blatantly Bookish. You may notice that I am wearing the same outfit as before, and that is because I am filming a whole bunch of videos at once because I was just very excited to film today for some reason. So you guys get a whole bunch of them. So today I am doing a library haul for you guys. There are a lot of books that I took out from the library, and you know that it hasn't been long since I did the last library haul, and I haven't really read any of those books yet. That's not true. I read one of them, and I've been reading more of my other writer's book. I finished reading Becoming a Writer by Dorothea Brand, and I did read some more of that other writer's book that I was talking about. Where is it? The Writing Life, Writers on How They Think and Work. So I have been reading more of this, although I think I'm going to stop reading this because it's becoming very repetitive and a little preachy for my liking. It's very self-help almost. The inspiration is in you. You can do it. And it might be the kind of thing that's good to pick up if you're a writer who has come upon writer's block and you are looking for that kind of support and inspiration. I'm kind of getting tired of it, so I might stop reading this one pretty soon, especially when I show you all of these new books that I got out from the library. Towards the end of March, I decided that I wanted to get more into poetry. I don't read much poetry, as you've probably noticed on this channel. I read a little here and there, but I figured I'd like to read some more of it. I picked up a whole lot of poetry in this library haul, and also, coincidentally, April is National Poetry Month in the US, which I did not know before picking up all of these books at the very end of March. So the first book I picked up, because I am obsessed with Emily Dickinson, is The Complete Poems of Emily Dickinson. So she is probably my favorite poet of all time, and I've just been reading her work from a very young age, but I feel like she has written so prolifically that I haven't read all of it, and I only know sort of bits and pieces here and there, so I wanted a complete collection from her. I realized after taking this book out, though, that it is humongous. It is too big for me to just read from the library and return, in one sitting. I'm going to want to annotate it. I'm going to want to really read it, mark it up, read some things again, take my time with it. So I actually caved and ordered my own copy of this book because, yeah, I think it's about time I own some Emily Dickinson. But I was interested in getting more into contemporary poetry, besides Emily Dickinson, of course. So I picked up some other contemporary poets. I picked up Native Guard by Natasha Trethewey, and this won a Pulitzer Prize and is the only book in this book haul that I've already read, and it is fantastic. I talked about it a bit in my March Madness, March wrap-up, and I highly recommend that you check this one out. I think I want to read it again, actually, because it was that good. She talks about losing her mother, she talks about her childhood in the Deep South, and she combines race and the Civil War and history with all of her personal emotions, and it is brilliant. The next book I picked up was Once by Megan O'Rourke. Now, I really know little to nothing about the rest of the poets that I am picking up in this book haul. I actually did a search online to see some more contemporary poets that, online lists repeated over and over again, and I just picked my books based on those and what the library had in stock. So I don't have much to say about this one. If I read it and like it, I will let you know. Another one I picked up was Say Uncle by Kay Ryan, and as I said, I don't know much about these authors, but this one I know was a poet laureate. So I have high hopes for her, and actually ended up picking up 2 of her works. So I have Say Uncle, and I also have Erratic Facts. So they have very different vibes just based on the covers. So I'm interested to see how the collections differ from each other, and if I like both of them, if I like none of them. We'll see. I also picked up The Beauty by Jane Hirshfield, and I started reading this one, and I don't know if it was because I was so blown away by Natasha Trethewey and The Native Guard, because I picked it up right after that, but I wasn't really getting into this one. I actually stopped reading it I used a feather as a bookmark, which is just a little ridiculous of me, but yeah, I'm almost halfway through and I just wasn't getting into it, so I might not pick this one up again. We'll see. And then I also picked up the Austerities poems by Charles Simic. Now, Charles Simic is an author I've read a little of. I read some of his prose poems in undergrad and I really enjoyed him. I feel like he has so much work out there that I am unfamiliar with, and I just picked a random one up and decided to start from there. We'll see how that goes. So that was it for the poetry that I picked up while I was at the library. And I am really interested in getting more into poetry. This is just aside from Emily Dickinson, the more contemporary poets I picked up. Once I finish these, I'm hoping to do another batch of a slightly older generation of poets. I'm thinking some Dorothy Parker, who it's amazing I've never actually read, maybe some Christina Rossetti, perhaps some Frank O'Hara. I don't know. Just a whole bunch of different poets for me to check out, or maybe I'll even take out more of these if I love these authors so much. I mean, I would pick up another Natasha Trethewey book, so we'll see. But on to the novels. Now, unfortunately, my library is amazing. No, that's not unfortunately. It's great if a library is amazing, but when I walked in this past weekend, they had so many books that I wanted to read instantly. I don't know what it was, but a ton of books on my to-read list or that I've heard about recently, a lot of new releases, were just sitting there waiting for me to pick them up. So I picked a few of them up, but I did exercise some self-control. There was a nice copy of Idaho there by Emily Ruskovich, and I did not take that one. See, I have some self-control. But I did pick up Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson, and I've heard really great things about this book, but I haven't actually heard anyone on BookTube review it. I'm not sure why. I read the inside cover and I said, yes, I want to pick this book up, so hopefully I will read this. I think this is the one I'm going to start first. Maybe. I don't promise that. But the original reason I went to the library in the first place was to pick up Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Now, if you know my channel, you know that I hardly ever read YA, and that's mostly because I feel like I don't know what to expect from YA. There's a lot of good YA out there, but I don't know who to trust to find it. And then there's a lot of trite YA out there, and I find that pretty much whatever I pick up to me seems trite, unless I find someone I truly trust who recommends a book to me. Now, I figured this one has won quite a few prizes, which are all exhibited on its front cover, that some people thought it was pretty good, and I was looking for a lighter read because I feel like I was in a reading slump. Not a slump per se, but I have so many books now from the library, and they're just all over my floor, all over my room, and I'm looking and deciding which one to pick, and I can't decide, and then I end up reading nothing, which is just a shame. So I thought maybe, a quicker, lighter read would help me with that, and YA read, if it's meant for a, 13-year-old, I hope I should be able to read it. So, yeah. I don't know much about this book besides, its prizes, and that it's about two misfit boys named Aristotle and Dante, and them discovering themselves. That's all I really know. So I hope I do read this one. I think I probably will, but as you see, I have a lot going on right now in terms of reading. And then, surprise of surprises, another book that was there that I've wanted to read for such a long time is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. So I heard this book, it had a lot of hype coming out. A lot of people have talked about how wonderful this book was. I've actually never read Emma Donoghue. I know she wrote Room, which people rave about on BookTube, and I think The Frog Music as well, and I just decided it was time to pick up one of her books. And this was sitting there in the library, which is like a sign or an omen that it's time for me to pick up Emma Donoghue. So here it is. Hopefully I read it before it is due back. So that is what I got at the library. Obviously I take out way too many books, and I cannot possibly read them all before I return them, just like last time. But I'm curious if you guys have read any of these books. Who are your favorite poets? I know we're talking a lot about poetry before. Are there any poets that you recommend I check out in the future, in my next little book haul? I might try and prevent myself from going to the library next weekend because I'm getting a little inundated with books over here. So yes, I look forward to seeing you guys in another video soon. And until then, happy reading. Bye!